Billy here, still in the park. It's starting to rain. I could find something to get under here, but probably not all on the road. So I'm gonna hang out a bit. Might as well make videos. Just thinking, if you're in the US and you got any old cars in your back lot, like if you're a farmer and you got old tractors and scrap metal and stuff like that, you better hang on to it. You better not be selling stuff for cash. Cash ain't gonna be worth nothing. It's gonna be very valuable to people that can do stuff. A lot of cars are gonna become unusable. Things keep going. Oh, you can't get chips. You can't get a catalytic converter. There's a platinum shortage. You're not gonna be able to make anything work. You can't get parts. The little plastic doodads that are all tied together that your car won't work without. No. Tell you what, you got an internal combustion engine, I don't care how complicated it is, most of them can be stripped down to their bare elements and made to work. You have to make some things though, and they're easy to make. It's not that difficult to make an external distributor. Person can do a little casting. Don't even have to be aluminum. Zinc will do. Soft metal. It's easy to do. You could make the stuff even without casting. Some very rudimentary tools. You don't even have to have a machine shop. I've already done this before. I put an old Volkswagen Beetle distributor on a late 80s Dodge Omni that was all electronic, and the computer was bad. And all the computers that you find in the junkyard were bad, and the new old stock ones that you get from the auto parts store were bad. The plastic they made them out of shrank and cracked and made them unusable. So what do? Throw the car away? No. I noticed the distributor looked pretty standard, pretty normal. It was almost like a 009 Bosch, which is what you'd have in Volkswagen Beetles from the mid-50s up till the 70s when they went to electronics. And you could buy one for like 50 bucks brand new. I could make it work. My buddy had a lathe. Yeah, all we had to do, we didn't even have to change the size of anything. We turned a groove in it for an O-ring so it would seal. And knocked the gear off, had to drill the cross pin hole out, put the gear of the Chrysler gear on the Volkswagen distributor, went right on, re-drill it, put a pin in it, put it in, found top dead center on number one, hooked up the plug wires, tuned it by ear, and it ran great. I went back to analog on it and eliminated the computer. I could do that with most cars, even the electronic fuel injected ones, because I was going to get a Metro when gas first started going up the first time, a long time ago. The Geo Metro gets really good gas mileage, and they're real simple engines. They got a complicated electronic ignition distributor driven off the cam, off the end of the cam, right out there in the open. Easy to make an adapter. They're 3 cylinders. So, looked at Tractor Supply. You could get a brand new distributor for a Ford or a Massey Ferguson 3-cylinder little tractors. Doesn't matter what it is. It's 12 volts is 12 volts. 3 cylinders is 3 cylinders. It's got 3 holes in it. You can make it work. Adapt it to the original drive, and you got non-electronic ignition. As far as the computer-controlled injection goes, you shuck all that off, and you got a hole at the top of the manifold. You plug off all the stuff you don't need, and you can make an adapter for any kind of little carburetor. I would use like an S&S carb for a old Sportster. They're a dime a dozen. They're simple. Or even a Kian or any kind of old Sportster carbs. 1 liter is 1 liter. The S&S, you get a tunable jet, so they're kind of like infinitely adjustable. You'd make it work. You can make that thing run sweet and be totally analog. I could do that with probably any car with a little work. You could pick out popular cars if somebody wants to do a business and start making kits where you can just pop out all the parts you need to bolt something together. Because otherwise the cars are going to be unusable. It's nice to simplify them and make them non-fragile. Oh, it won't be APA approved though. Yeah, it'd probably pass the emissions test if you tune it real good.
Половину позже выпить.
Не, мы сначала.
Нет, ваша
A lot of people don't know that.
Один съешь и половину.
It's been done. You take a good tight late 60s 383 dual point ignition and you do a real good job of tuning it and getting it just right, it'll pass emissions test. But then that's why they started going after all the rare gases and stuff and little trace gases that, you know, you can't do that to get rid of. They're not a threat. It's just control to make you put the platinum catalytic converter on it and to make you put the air injection on it and make it really high temperature in the 80s, which made oxides of nitrous or oxides of nitrogen. Anyway, the high temperature caused another gas to happen, so then they said that gas is bad, so then they went to fuel injection and brought the temperature back down. Although the temperature of your fuel is very high at fuel injection, well, the temperature of fuel in a carburetor, because it's being atomized, is actually quite cool. You know, it's just, if you have a rudimentary knowledge of science and physics, you know what they're doing. It's all to create things really complex and fragile, and lots and lots and lots of profit involved in it, and control. And they're there. Congratulations. You have to start undoing it. There's technological ways of undoing it. Your Uncle Bildy's an expert on that. Anybody want to discuss or explore or write a book or make parts, get in touch. Could be lucrative. Is somebody going to try to stop you? They don't have the legal right to do that, but they will, and the cops will obey them. But I'm being worst case scenario negative. Things are going to have to open up, but you're going to have to enforce your rights. You're going to have to make them open up. You're going to have to control your political environment, because they'll starve you to death. When you're malnourished and can't feed yourself, they'll come and jack you up over violating an ordinance where you can't have a garden here. Yeah, they'll do it too. The thugs will do it. I'm going to pay my mortgage. That's what you got to break. You got to break it. And if they won't listen, if you can't break it politically, you got to make it cost them something. And you can do it if you stay unified, if you organize. Organize, please. Organize. You can have transportation, you can have fuel, you can have food, and you can provide it for yourself, but they're going to try to stop you. Those ordinances went out the window in Germany when they had to start up their coal plants again, because the Russians won't give them gas real cheap anymore because they don't like sanctions. They think they can sanction and send weapons and say nasty things, and then they have the right to buy gas from them. Look who's in charge. Stoltz. There's a meme and a video going around of him giving a speech where he's waving his hands and slamming on the desk and getting all animated and passionate. And it reminds you of somebody that, you know, was a statesman about 60 years ago, 70 years ago, damn near 80. It's funny, the similarities. They ran them side by side. Stoltz's father was, I think it was his father or his grandfather, I think it was his father, Fritz Stoltz. He was some sort of Sturmführer for the SS, high-ranking Nazi. That's okay for Stoltz to get up there and give a speech, and he's like, yeah, looking like he wants to bite your head off and flailing his arms around like old mean Mr. Mustache guy. Stoltz needs to grow him a little toothbrush mustache. That'd be pretty cool. He doesn't need it though. Yeah, they're going to send weapons to Russia and say Putin's a thug and a killer and make all kinds of outrageous claims, and then they get butt hurt when they don't sell them gas real cheap anymore. So now they're going to coal, but that's okay. Like California, they're going after people for having barbecue pits. You're destroying the earth. But now they're going to fire up the coal for political reasons. Tells you everything you need to know. It's coming down pretty good, and I forgot my umbrella. Oh well, I don't have anything to do. I'm going to have to find some shelter. But anyway, my main point is something I haven't said anything about. but I wanted to convey that information as you can make these cars run. It's a matter of stripping it down to its base elements and making spark at the right time and fuel being sucked in and atomized in the right amounts, and you can do it without the computerized crap. It can be done. Anyway, it's going to have to be done probably if things keep going the way they are. But it'll be illegal. You have to walk. Right. They don't have a leg to stand on. There's no moral authority. They're fake authority. It'll disappear. But you got to make that happen. Anyway, Uncle Bildy signing out. A very wet goodbye.